The stars blinked coldly in the black void of space, but something was wrong. A vast shape moved through the Sol system's outer boundary, blotting out distant suns. It was a shadow unlike any humanity had ever seen a fleet, unlike any that had approached Earth before. From the bridge of the Vakthar, flagship of the Imperial Armada, Admiral Korav surveyed the starfield through the reinforced viewport. His eyes, cold and calculating, traced the orderly rows of battleships, carriers, and assault frigates. Over 1,000 vessels, each a floating fortress of destruction, prepared to execute the final step in the Empire's relentless campaign of expansion, the Sol system, Korov said, voice carrying a mixture of boredom and disdain. A backwater system with an insignificant blue planet. They'll fall without resistance. Their primitive defenses will be swept away like dust. In the void, behind him, the fleet's operations room buzzed with activity. Tactical officers monitored screens tracking Earth's orbital satellites, asteroid belts, and the remnants of a once bustling human space presence. Yet, no signs of hostile maneuvering appeared. No warnings flashed. Earth's defenses were dark, silent. Admiral, no energy signatures detected on the planet or in orbit, reported Lieutenant Cerrone, the fleet's tactical analyst. Their ground installations remain dormant. It's as if they expect nothing. Korov smirked. Then we will be the ones delivering the surprise. On Earth, the picture was entirely different, far beneath the surface, in a sprawling complex. Carved into the moon's dark side, humanity's greatest minds and commanders watched the enemy approach with steady calm. The High Command's chamber was a ring of dim light, faces illuminated only by holographic star charts and streams of data. General Elena Vasquez stood at the center, hands clasped behind her back, eyes narrowing at the approaching fleet. She was no stranger to war. The scars on her hands told stories of battles on distant worlds. But this was different. This was home. Our sensors have tracked the Imperial Armada for months, she said quietly, voice firm and resolute. They believe Earth is a soft target and prepared unarmed. We have let them believe that. A young officer, Commander Lee, tapped a console, bringing up schematics of Earth's secret defense network. Thousands of orbital platforms hidden beneath clouds and ice. Cloaked space stations masked by asteroid fields. Autonomous drone swarms waiting silently in distant moons. Every weapon system is primed, Lee reported. The AI Warnet is fully operational. Communications are jammed and encrypted beyond Imperial cracking. Alina nodded. Begin evacuation. Protocols for all civilian centers. But remind everyone this is not fear. This is preparation. Earth's defenses will not falter. Back in space, the Vakthar edged closer to Mars' orbit. The Imperium's warships spread into assault formations, ready to unleash a storm of destruction on the unsuspecting planet. Below, the red dust stirred, silent witnesses to an invasion that would soon shatter centuries of peace. Admiral Korov paced the bridge, eyes narrowing as the first ships began powering up their weapons. The familiar hum of plasma cannons and missile launchers filled the air. The signal for attack was at hand, and then nothing. No barrage came. No response from Earth. Confusion rippled through the fleet. Are we delayed? One captain asked. Nervously, Korov's lips curled into a thin smile. No, they are bait. His voice crackled through com channels, broadcasting to every ship in the Armada. Prepare for full assault. They will break within the hour. Then, from the silence, the skies erupted. Thousands of glowing beams burst from Earth's orbit. slicing into the lead destroyers like knives through silk. The flagship shuddered violently as its shields flared and failed. Explosions blossomed across the hull as kinetic slugs pierced the armor at impossible velocities. The Imperials stared, in disbelief. Unidentified weapons. They're hitting us with precision fire railguns at Mach 60. Lieutenant Soren shouted, voice trembling. We're losing formation. On Earth's command deck, General Vasquez allowed herself a grim smile. Phase 1 is complete. Initiate. Orbital net lockdown. Invisible to the Imperial's energy webs stretched across the system. Electromagnetic pulses cascaded, frying enemy electronics, silencing their comms, and darkening entire wings of ships. The Imperial fleet, once a terrifying mountain of metal, was now a burning wreck drifting in the void. Korov's fury boiled over as his flagship rocked from a massive explosion. The Vacthares sensors blinked out one by one. Signal every ship. Regroup. Counterattack. He barked, desperation creeping into his voice. But the Imperium's tactics faltered. Earth's defenses were unlike anything they had ever faced. Automated AI commanders anticipated their moves, rerouting drone swarms that tore through ship corridors. Silent boarding parties disabled entire crews before they could react. Korov's hubris had been his undoing. The humans were not primitive. They were predators, concealed beneath a mask of peaceful innocence. In the calm of Earth's war room, General Vasquez watched the enemy unravel. They believed we would run, she said softly. But we stand our ground. We are ready. And in that moment, the Shadow Fleet stopped being a symbol of invincible conquest. It became a graveyard of arrogance. The war for Earth had just begun, and humanity was already winning. Centuries ago, humanity was a whisper in the galaxy ignored by empires that viewed Earth as a backwater, a primitive world ripe for exploitation or erasure. But while the stars above burned with the fires of distant wars, humanity worked in silence, shaping their future from the shadows. In a subterranean command center carved beneath the Antarctic ice, a holographic map of the galaxy flickered with lines and nodes representing every known empire, every alliance, every enemy. Scientists and strategists worked side by side, their faces illuminated by the cold glow of their projections. Dr. Naomi Chen, chief architect of Earth's defense AI, adjusted her glasses as she studied the display. The Imperium of Vax, she said quietly, is the galaxy's largest military power, but they're predictable. Their conquests leave patterns. We've learned from every war they've waged. Beside her, General Vasquez nodded. Every weakness we could exploit, every error we could anticipate, we built that into our systems. They think we are simple. They think we are alone. Naomi smiled, a rare warmth breaking through the chill of the war room. They're about to find out just how wrong they are. Earth had not always been so quiet. 2 generations ago, first contact with the Confederacy had changed everything. The Ilari were war-weary and fractured, but they shared knowledge, gift, and a warning. The galaxy was a brutal place. Survival demanded more than courage. It demanded cunning. When the Ilari Confederacy collapsed under Imperial assault, many refugees fled to Earth. They brought technology and knowledge humanity could never have. Reached alone, cloaking fields, quantum communication, advanced AI, and weapon designs crafted in the furnace of interstellar war. Earth absorbed it all, but carefully. No treaty, no alliances. Just patience. Deep inside Earth's orbit, hidden among the asteroids and shielded by electromagnetic interference. Entire fleets slept in silence. One such fleet was the silent Guardian stealth frigates designed to strike first and vanish without trace. Their hulls were covered in adaptive camouflage, their weapons primed for surgical strikes. Earth's fleet was not a standing army, but a collection of lethal ghosts, ready to materialize from the void. On board the silent Guardian flagship, Captain Ryo Tanaka adjusted his helmet as the alarm blared. The time had come. Fleet to battle stations, he ordered calmly. Engage stealth arrays. We are the hunters tonight. Back on Earth, civilian life carried on with eerie normalcy. Cities hummed beneath protective shields, traffic flowed smoothly along skyways, and families shared meals underground. For most, the Imperial Armada was a distant threat, one humanity was prepared to face, in a subterranean metro station converted into a command post. Lieutenant Amara Desai coordinated civilian evacuations. Her voice was steady, reassuring. Remain calm, you are safe. Follow instructions. Despite the fear lurking beneath the surface, Amara's conviction spread. People trusted that humanity's long-hidden strength would see them through. Meanwhile, in the Imperial warships above Mars, confusion and panic rippled through the command ranks. The Imperium's commanders had never encountered an enemy who fought with such cold precision. Admiral Korov slammed his fist on the armrest. They're ghosts. We cannot hit what we cannot see. This is not a primitive planet. They are waiting, hunting us. Lieutenant Soren grimaced. Their AI is unparalleled. Our drones are falling like flies. Our sensors are jammed or hacked. We're blind. The Vakthar shuddered again from a distant explosion. The Imperium was losing ground and fast. Back on Earth, General Vasquez watched the battle unfold through real-time feeds. The calm in her eyes masked a storm of emotions. The weight of her ancestors pressed down, but so did hope. Every system is synchronized, she told her officers. Their arrogance is their downfall. We fight not because we are stronger, but because we are ready. Naomi's AI systems processed thousands of battle variables every second, directing drone swarms, coordinating railgun strikes, and predicting Imperial maneuvers. The defense was more than technology, it was a living, breathing organism in orbit above Jupiter. A hidden weapons platform opened its massive armored shell. Inside, engineers and scientists monitored a quantum entanglement reactor powering Earth's secret weapon, the Leviathan. This dreadnought was the culmination of humanity's efforts. A mobile fortress armed with antimatter cannons and hyper-advanced shielding. For years, it had slept beneath Europa's ice, invisible to all but Earth's own eyes. Captain Tanaka received a direct order from Earth Command: deploy the Leviathan. End this invasion swiftly. In the cold silence of space, the Leviathan awoke. Its engines roared to life, disrupting gravitational fields as it burst through the ice crust. The dreadnought's antimatter lance charged a weapon capable of vaporizing entire fleets in a single strike. Back on Earth, General Vasquez allowed herself a small nod. Let the galaxy remember, we were never defenseless. As the Imperial Armada hovered on the brink of destruction, the galaxy beyond watched in stunned silence. Earth was no longer the forgotten backwater. It was a fortress, a shadow fleet, and a deadly predator wrapped in blue oceans and green forests. And humanity was just beginning to show its teeth. The Imperial fleet hung poised above Mars, its colossal vessels arranged in ruthless formation. Like a wave ready to crash onto a shore, the Armada's countless weapons hummed with lethal intent. On board the flagship Vakthar, Admiral Korov stood at the bridge's center, eyes locked on Earth's distant blue sphere. "Prepare to initiate orbital bombardment," Korov commanded, voice as cold as the void outside. Below, the millions who called Earth home remained unaware, or so the Imperials thought. Deep within Earth's orbital defense grid, hidden railgun platforms awakened from centuries of silence. Like ancient sentinels, their massive barrels turned slowly toward the incoming threat. Invisible cloaking fields flickered off, one by one, revealing arrays of kinetic artillery primed for battle at the same time. Thousands of nanodrones, hidden within the Van Allen belts, swarmed forward, weaving intricate patterns of electromagnetic interference designed to cripple incoming missiles and scramble sensor systems. From Earth Command's war room, General Vasquez watched the unfolding scene through layered holoscreens. Calm but focused, she addressed her officers. "They expect weakness. They expect no resistance," she said, voice steady. "We will show them what humanity truly is." At that moment, the Imperium's flagship fired its first salvo. Barrage of plasma bolts and missile swarms aimed directly at Earth's surface. The silence was broken by an explosion that lit up the darkness. But it was a trap. From Earth's orbit, 1,000 coordinated railgun shots tore into the advancing fleet, each slug traveling at hypersonic speeds. The lead destroyer, caught in the first volley, shattered into flaming fragments. Its explosion cascaded through nearby ships. Sowing chaos, Lieutenant Saren's voice crackled over comms, disbelief clear. "They're targeting us with pinpoint accuracy. How are they tracking our movements?" Sensors aboard the Vac flickered, distorted by a web of quantum jamming that shut down communications and sensor arrays in seconds. "We're blind," Korov hissed. "All ships maintain formation and brace for counterattack." Amidst the chaos, stealth drones launched from Earth's hidden bases slipped through gaps in the Imperium's defenses. Cloaked in adaptive camouflage, these dart-like machines infiltrated enemy ships, silently disabling weapons systems and hacking into core processors. On board the cruiser Sharnak, crew members scrambled as alarms blared. "Breach in engineering. Unknown hostiles detected." One officer shouted, but the intruders moved faster ghosts in the metal labyrinth. Moments later, the Sharnak lost power and drifted helplessly, awaiting destruction. General Vasquez turned to her chief tactical AI, codenamed Aegis. "Deploy the drone swarms to the fleet's vulnerable sectors. Prioritize flagship defense." Aegis's synthetic voice responded with calm certainty. "Acknowledged. Calculating optimal strike vectors. Engagement commencing." Suddenly, massive swarms of micro-drones swirled through space like a deadly storm, converging on the Imperial Armada. They tore through hull breaches, sabotaged engines, and sliced through sensor arrays. Panic spread in the enemy ranks. On the Vakthar S bridge, Korov slammed his fist on the console. "This isn't possible. Their attack is coordinated to precise." "Are they? Using AI?" Lieutenant Soren nodded grimly. "Worse, their AI is adaptive. Every move we make, it predicts and counters." Korov's face twisted with rage. "Then we will overwhelm them with sheer numbers. Launch all fighters. Initiate boarding protocols." But Earth was ready. As Imperial fighters scrambled from their carriers, they found themselves trapped in invisible energy nets, orbital force fields pulsing with enough power to crush a battleship. The few that slipped through were met by human pilots in advanced stealth fighters, maneuvering with uncanny precision. Commander Ryo Tanaka led the Silent Guardian's fleet in hit-and-run attacks, picking off enemy craft with cold efficiency. Destroy. Their air support, Tanaka ordered, overcomes. Keep them off balance. Meanwhile, Earth's genetically enhanced apex hunters, prepared for their own assault, teleported onto crippled enemy ships by advanced quantum displacement pods. They moved silently through darkened corridors, armed with plasma blades and electromagnetic rifles. The hunters dispatched Imperial crews in swift, surgical strikes. Their goal was simple: capture the Imperium's officers and gather intelligence. No mercy was shown to those who resisted. Back on Earth, the world held its breath. Across the globe, billions watched live broadcasts showing the battle unfold in real time. The shock was universal. Earth was fighting back, and the results were devastating. News anchors struggled to keep calm as footage showed Imperial warships exploding in brilliant fireballs, their fleets breaking apart under relentless assault. In a broadcast from the United Terran Directorate, General Vasquez's voice rang out, "Humanity is not defenseless. We will protect our home with every tool, every mind, every ounce of courage. This is our home, and we will not surrender it." The tide of battle shifted fast. Within minutes, nearly half the Imperial fleet was destroyed or disabled. The Vakthor's hull was scarred and smoking, its weapons systems crippled. Korov realized the invasion had already failed before it truly began. "Order a full retreat," he bellowed. "We will live to fight another day." But Earth's defenses did not relent. Invisible to the retreating Imperials, Earth's wormhole disruptors activated, like a net cast across the stars. They prevented the fleet from slipping away into hyperspace. The trap was closing. Korov's fleet was caught broken and hunted in the void. General Vasquez watched as the last enemy ships fell into Earth's embrace. Their final signals lost to silence. They came to conquer, she whispered, and instead found their own demise. Earth's first strike was brutal, swift, and undeniable. The war for humanity's future had begun with fire. Darkness clung to the corridors of the Vakthar. But the true danger wasn't in the shadows. It was inside the ship itself. Silent and invisible, the hunters moved. The apex hunters were more than soldiers. They were humanity's answer to an enemy that underestimated them. Enhanced with neural implants, genetically honed reflexes, and armed with weapons that whispered death, they were the ghosts that no Imperium scout could detect until it was too late. "Captain." Ryo Tanaka's voice crackled quietly through the hunters. "COMM channels. Team Alpha, breach and secure engineering. Team Beta, head for command. Remember, capture the target alive if possible. We need their commander." Inside the flagship, Imperial crews scrambled to respond. Alarms blared and red lights bathed the walls as the ship's systems flickered under the drone and hunter assault. The Vakthar SAI struggled to adapt, but Earth's operatives had already slipped past its defenses. Sergeant Myra Solis led Team Alpha, moving like a shadow across the bulkhead, with her plasma blade humming softly at her side. She disabled the first two guards before they even realized she was there. The silence was broken only by the faint hiss of her breath and the soft thud of bodies hitting the floor. Elsewhere, Team Beta infiltrated the command deck. Imperial officers attempted to mount a defense, but the hunters were relentless. Myra's voice came over the comm, steady and sure. Engineering secure, weapons offline. Prepare for extraction. Lieutenant Saren, pinned behind a damaged console, snarled. How did they get past security? We were prepared for everything except this. They're not just soldiers, Mira replied over the channel. They're engineered killers. Meanwhile, thousands of nanodrones swarmed through the Vakthar-S ventilation systems and wiring conduits. These invisible invaders dismantled critical systems piece by piece, cutting power, corrupting navigation, and scrambling the targeting computers. The Imperium's once proud warship was dying from within. In the depths of the flagship, Admiral Korov paced in fury. His fingers clenched around a metal railing as the ship trembled. They are inside. Our defenses have been breached. His voice was sharp, commanding. Send boarding teams to engage. Seal all exits. Kill anyone not in our command. But the hunters were ghost elusive and deadly. Every attempt to trap them ended in failure. The Vakthar corridors became a hunting ground where silence meant death. Below decks, Mira paused at a junction, sensing movement. To Imperial, Marines rounded the corner, weapons raised. Without hesitation, she struck. Her plasma blade sang as it cut through armor, and in seconds, the threat was gone. Move forward, she whispered. We don't have much time. Her squad pressed deeper into the ship, targeting the bridge with surgical precision. At Earth Command, General Vasquez monitored the hunters' progress through real-time feeds. They are our scalpel, she said. To her officers, cutting away the heart of the beast. Aegis, the AI, added calmly. Boarding actions will collapse command and control in minutes. Remaining ships will lose coordination. As the hunters neared the bridge, Korov's desperation grew. He activated emergency protocols, sealing bulkheads and deploying automated defense turrets. But even these could not halt the silent killers. Mira's team breached the final door. The bridge erupted into chaos as hunters engaged the remaining crew. Korov fought fiercely, but the numbers were against him. A plasma blade flashed, a rifle's electric bolt hit its mark, and the Admiral was subdued. Secure him, Mira ordered, stepping forward with cold determination. Captured, the Imperial commander was dragged from the wreckage of his ship, a symbol of the Imperium's shattered pride. The remaining Imperial vessels, leaderless and disoriented, found themselves exposed. Earth's AI fighters descended like locusts, finishing what the hunters began above the battlefield. The Leviathan stirred beneath Europa's ice, ready to deliver its devastating blow. But the silent killing within the fleet had already sealed the fate of the invasion. 3 beneath the ice-crusted surface of Europa, the colossal form of the Leviathan stirred. For decades, the dreadnought had slumbered in secret, its antimatter cores dormant, shielded by miles of frozen ocean and hidden from prying sensors. Now, the time had come. Deep inside the command chamber, Captain Ryo Tanaka stood with clenched fists, watching the ship's systems ignite one by one. The cold blue glow of the antimatter reactor pulsed steadily, casting eerie shadows on the metal walls. Leviathan, this is Captain Tanaka. Systems at full operational status. Awaiting orders. A soft hum grew into a roar as engines powered up. The dreadnought's titanic hull cracked the ice overhead and burst forth into the vacuum of space. Above Jupiter. The sight was breathtaking. The Leviathan's sleek form, a blend of ancient design and cutting-edge technology, reflected the distant sun like a beacon of hope, its weapon systems locked onto the crippled Imperial fleet, waiting for the command to unleash fury. On Earth's command, General Alina Vasquez stood at the helm, her eyes steely with resolve. "This is the moment humanity has prepared for," she said to the assembled officers. "The Leviathan will remind the galaxy that Earth is no easy prize." Beside her, Dr. Naomi Chun's fingers danced across a console, activating the quantum entanglement disruptors to prevent any Imperial escape. "Once we fire," Naomi said, "there's no turning back." In the void, the remnants of the Imperial Armada limped through the wreckage of their own hubris, ships battered and disorganized, their crews shaken by the swift and precise human counterattack. Admiral Koroff, shackled and humiliated, glared out the viewport as the monstrous silhouette of the Leviathan appeared. "It's a weapon of myth," he muttered. "No fleet can survive its wrath." The dreadnought's primary weapon, the antimatter lance, charged with a blinding intensity. Energy coalesced into a beam of pure destruction, stretching like a silver spear aimed at the heart of the enemy, with a shudder that rippled through space. The Leviathan unleashed its first strike. The beam cut through the lead Imperial cruiser like a scythe through wheat, vaporizing it instantly. The shockwave tore through nearby vessels, sending them tumbling in broken arcs. Explosions blossomed in brilliant fireballs, illuminating the dark battlefield with fiery blossoms of death. Admiral Koroff barked orders, but the chaos was complete. "Form a defensive perimeter. Protect the retreat. We cannot lose more ships." But it was too late. The Leviathan's attack shattered their formation and broke their spirit. Captain Tanaka's voice cut through the comms. "Leviathan is firing again, targeting the flagship Vakthar." The dreadnought's second beam was a spear of wrath, piercing the Vakthar's battered hull and igniting a chain reaction of explosions. The Imperium's flagship, pride of the Armada, began to crumble. From Earth Command, General Vasquez watched the destruction with cold satisfaction. "This is what happens when you underestimate humanity," she said. Meanwhile, aboard the Leviathan, Captain Tanaka issued new orders: deploy drone squadrons, sweep for survivors, and salvage intel. This battle is not yet over. Back on Earth, the tide of war shifted decisively. The Imperium's invasion was all but crushed, their forces broken and scattered. But the galaxy watched hand, so did those who waited beyond the stars. The battlefield lay silent in the aftermath of Leviathan's devastating assault. Wreckage floated like drifting ghosts in the cold void, and the few surviving Imperial ships limped away in disarray. Earth's forces, battered but unyielding, began mopping up operations with surgical precision back on Earth Command. General Alina Vasquez allowed herself a brief moment of reprieve, but the weight of the victory was heavy. The Imperium's invasion was crushed, yes, but at what cost? Her eyes flicked over the data streams flowing in from distant star systems. The Imperium's war had roused something older, something darker, in the vast reaches of uncharted space, beyond the borders of the known galaxy. A silent observer watched with cold calculation. A shimmering black vessel, cloaked in shadows and void energy, slipped through the stars. Its surface was like liquid night, reflecting nothing, revealing no shape, only a ripple of menace. Inside, the Council of the Obsidian Veil gathered. They were an ancient alien race, survivors of a long-forgotten war, whose technology rivaled even the Imperium's. Their leader, High Seer, observed the data feed from the Sol System's conflict. "Earth has proven far more formidable than expected," Zalthar intoned. "The Imperium's arrogance cost them dearly." A younger council member, the envoy Vrex, flicked a clawed hand toward the projection. This human weapon, the Leviathan, could threaten even us. Its power disturbs the balance. Zalthar nodded slowly. Indeed, they have awakened. We must decide, contain or consume. Back in the Sol system, Earth's forces continued their campaign of defense and recovery. Captain Ryo Tanaka coordinated drone fleets sweeping the debris fields, searching for survivors and retrieving valuable technology. His mind lingered on the captured Admiral Korov, now imprisoned aboard the Earth battleship Defiant. The man's arrogance had been broken, but his knowledge was dangerous. Interrogate him, Tanaka instructed. We need to understand how the Imperium mobilized such a fleet, and if others will follow. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, Dr. Naomi Chen analyzed the data recovered from the battlefield. The Imperium's technology was advanced, yes, but their communications revealed something more disturbing: secret alliances, forbidden technologies, and whispers of a coming storm. She tapped her fingers on the console. General, this wasn't just an invasion, it was a test. Vasquez looked up, brows furrowed. A test? For whom? Naomi's eyes darkened. For powers far beyond the Imperium, powers that have watched humanity from the shadows. Meanwhile, the United Terran Directorate held emergency sessions. Leaders from every corner of Earth debated their next moves. The invasion had united humanity as never before. But now new questions surfaced. Should Earth reveal its secret fleets and weapons to the galaxy, or remain hidden, watching as new threats gathered? Vasquez stood before the assembly, her voice firm. We have shown strength, but strength alone will not guarantee survival. We must build alliances and prepare for what comes next. As she spoke, reports arrived from distant colonies and identified ships entering outer systems, cloaked and silent. The Obsidian Veil's agents were already at work, scouting, infiltrating, preparing. The war was far from over. In a remote outpost on Mars, Lieutenant Amara Desai studied the incoming data feeds, her expression grim. We're not just defending Earth, she said quietly. We're standing on the edge of a galactic abyss. Above the Sol system, the stars seemed to shimmer with unseen eyes, watching, waiting. Humanity had won this battle, but the galaxy had only just begun to take notice. Asterisk, the vast council chamber aboard the Defiant thrummed with tension. Leaders, diplomats, and military commanders from Earth's united colonies filled the room. Their faces a mix of determination, fear, and uncertainty. This was no ordinary meeting, it was the convocation of the United Terran Council, formed in the aftermath of the Imperium's failed invasion. General Elena Vasquez stood at the center, commanding the assembly with her presence. Behind her, hollow projections displayed star maps marked with recent incursions, fleet movements, and unknown signals. We have survived the Imperium's first strike, she began, voice steady but resolute. But the threat is far from over. Intelligence confirms that alien factions are watching USM hostile, others undecided. We must act. A murmuring ran through the room. The galaxy was a vast and dangerous place. While Earth had fought back with brutal efficiency, it had become painfully clear that humanity was now on the radar of far older and far more powerful civilizations. At a distant diplomatic table, Ambassador Celine Armitage adjusted her comlink. She was one of Earth's most skilled envoys, tasked with opening dialogue beyond humanity's sphere. Across the room, representatives from several alien races observed her cautiously. The Thraxians, a race of reptilian strategists with keen minds, exchanged glances with the ethereal Valari, whose shimmering forms seemed to float rather than walk. Neither race trusted humanity completely, but both acknowledged Earth's newfound might. Selena's voice broke the silence. The Imperium's failure shows that Earth is no longer the weak backwater it once was. We seek alliances, knowledge exchange, and mutual defense. The galaxy is changing and we must change with it. In the corner, a shadowed figure watched silently. Not all were eager to welcome humanity's rise. The Obsidian Veil, shrouded in mystery, sent their envoy, Vrex, to observe the proceedings under a veil of invisibility technology. His thoughts were dark and calculating. Humanity's Leviathan was a threat that could not be ignored. If left unchecked, they could upset the fragile balance that had preserved the galaxy for millennia. Meanwhile, back aboard the Leviathan, Captain Ryo Tanaka reviewed the latest reconnaissance reports. Despite the diplomatic overtures, he knew the war was far from over. "General," he said, overcomes. "Our sensors picked up increased activity along the galactic border, unknown fleets massing, likely the Obsidian Veil's agents." Vasquez's reply was grim. "We expected as much. Prepare the fleet for rapid deployment. We cannot allow another surprise." On the ground, scientists worked feverishly to reverse engineer captured Imperial technology. Dr. Naomi Chen led a team experimenting with quantum entanglement disruptors and adaptive cloaking devices. "These technologies could give us a critical edge," Naomi told Vasquez during a briefing. "But they also hint at forces far beyond anything we've faced." Vasquez nodded. "Then we must be ready. We build. We learn, and we fight not just for Earth, but for all humanity." Tensions simmered across colonies and space stations. Some factions demanded aggressive, preemptive strikes against suspected hostile neighbors, while others urged caution and diplomacy in one corner of the galaxy. A rogue faction of Imperium survivors began rallying, desperate to reclaim lost honor and territory. At the same time, whispers spread of strange phenomena, ships disappearing, planets vanishing, and strange signals from beyond the veil of known space. In the quiet of her quarters, General Vasquez stared at the star-filled sky through reinforced glass. "This is only the beginning," she murmured. "The galaxy's eyes are upon us, and whatever comes next, we will face it as one." The Leviathan roared back to life, ready to stand as Earth's sentinel. The galaxy was no longer a silent witness. The gathering storm had begun. The stars above Earth burned cold and distant, yet below their steady light, humanity stood united, scarred, vigilant, and unyielding. The United Terran Council's convocation had ended with a resolve as firm as steel. Earth would not merely survive, it would thrive, and it would face the galaxy's dangers head-on. General Elena Vasquez stood on the observation deck of the Defiant, her eyes locked on the swirling nebulae beyond. The battle for survival had evolved into a war for destiny. The Imperium was shattered, but the Obsidian Veil and other unknown threats loomed like dark clouds on the horizon. Inside the Leviathan's command chamber, Captain Ryo Tanaka reviewed the latest reports. Despite Earth's diplomatic efforts, hostile fleets had been detected massing near the Oort cloud. The coming conflict would not be one of swift battles, but of enduring vigilance and sacrifice. Tanaka's fingers hovered over the launch controls. "Prepare drone squadrons for deployment. Send patrols along all borders. We will not be caught off guard again." Meanwhile, in Earth's research labs, Dr. Naomi Chen's team celebrated a breakthrough. the quantum entanglement disruptors had been successfully integrated into Earth's fleet, capable of disabling enemy jump drives, temporarily buying precious time in battle. Naomi's voice trembled with relief and hope as she reported, "This will change the rules of engagement." But victory was tempered by loss. Admiral Korov, once arrogant and ruthless, now sat imprisoned within Earth's highest security facility. During his interrogation, he revealed chilling intelligence. The Imperium had been but a vanguard, a pawn, in a larger galactic power play orchestrated by the Obsidian Veil. They seek to break Earth's will, Korov confessed bitterly. They want to control the Leviathan's power, or destroy it. General Vasquez took this knowledge to heart. Then we must protect what we have built and prepare for the war to come. She looked out toward the stars again. Humanity has risen from the ashes of its own wars to become a beacon in the dark. We will fight, not as isolated colonies, but as one species united by purpose. The last transmission from the Imperial fleet was received a fragmented, desperate message, full of fury and regret. The Imperium was no more, but the echoes of their ambition would ripple through the galaxy for years to come. As Earth's fleets expanded their patrols, new alliances formed. The Thraxians and Valari cautiously extended diplomatic hands, inspired by humanity's resilience and determination. Ambassador Celine Armitage's efforts bore fruit. "Together we are stronger," she declared. "The galaxy's future depends on cooperation, not conquest." Yet even as the galaxy breathed a tentative sigh of relief, the shadows beyond the stars remained. In the dark void, the Obsidian Veil's fleet gathered silently, their intentions unreadable but ominous. On Earth, the Leviathan stood as a sentinel, its antimatter lance charged and ready. General Vasquez and Captain Tanaka stood side by side on the Defiance Bridge. "Whatever comes next," Vasquez said, voice steady, "we will be ready." Tanaka nodded. For Earth, for humanity, the stars glimmered with the promise of a new dawn hard won and fiercely defended. Earth's defenses were prepared. The Imperial invasion was crushed in mere minutes, but humanity's war for survival had only just begun.